Reister speculated that the queen had originally been buried elsewhere. After robbers stripped her body of its jewels, her remains were reburied near her husband and son. Hope for an intact tomb was renewed in 1951 when Egyptian Egyptologist Zachary Ghanem discovered the remains of a previously unknown pyramid at Saqqara, about 6 miles south of Giza. The pyramid, buried under desert sand, had never been completed. Ghanem initially thought an unfinished pyramid was unlikely to hold much significance, let alone a pharaoh's remains. But his hopes rose when he uncovered a shallow trench leading to a tunnel. After breaking through 3 stone walls, he found jewelry, suggesting the tomb had never been looted. Finally, Ghanem reached the burial chamber, which he believed belonged to Sekhemkhet, a little-known pharaoh. When he found a golden coffin, he and his team danced, cried, and embraced in joy. Days later, before a crowd of scholars and reporters, Ghanem ordered the coffin opened. To his shock, it was empty. The failure to find a pharaoh in his tomb led to numerous theories, many based on the mathematical precision of the pyramids. In the 19th century, for example, Scottish astronomer Charles Piazzi Smythe claimed the Great Pyramid contained enough pyramid inches to serve as a scale model of the Earth's circumference. Unfortunately, Smythe's precise calculations were based on measurements taken while the pyramid's base was still buried under rubble. In 1974, physicist Kirk Mendelson argued that the pyramids were public works projects, not tombs designed to create a national identity for Egypt's scattered tribes. Mendelssohn's theory explained not only the lack of bodies but also the puzzling fact that many pharaohs built more than one tomb. For example, King Sneferu, Khufu's father, had 3 pyramids, and it's hard to imagine he intended to divide his remains among them. Khufu himself had 1 pyramid but 3 chambers, each seemingly designed as a burial room. Another theory gaining traction is that the pyramids were memorial shrines, monuments honoring deceased pharaohs, but not their actual tombs, which were hidden elsewhere to protect them from robbers. This would explain why the pyramids are filled with funerary features but lack bodies. Still, most Egyptologists believe the pyramids were primarily built as tombs. Even if they served other purposes, they are surrounded by other tombs, albeit for lesser officials. Even if ancient and modern looters have taken everything, the pharaohs' bodies likely rested there at one time. From the consensus of scholars, the pyramids are best understood as part of an architectural progression that began with flat-top, rectangular tombs made of mud brick, now called mastabas, where bodies have been found. Architects then began stacking one flat-top structure on another, creating what became known as step pyramids, the most famous of which is at Saqqara. Eventually, someone had the idea of filling in the steps, resulting in the smooth-sided pyramid, perhaps first seen at Meidum, about 40 miles south of Saqqara. This architectural evolution coincided with theological changes. Texts found in mastabas suggest a belief that pharaohs would ascend to heaven on their steps. Later texts from the pyramid era reflect the worship of the sun god, describing pharaohs rising to the sky on sunbeams. The pyramid's sloping sides, resembling the sun's rays, became the new path to heaven. Did sun worship inspire Egyptian architects to design the pyramids? At first glance, it seems unlikely that so many extra tons of stone would be quarried, transported, and dragged into place just because a staircase was no longer considered an effective way to reach the sky. But as hard as it is for us to grasp 4,500 years later, the Egyptians thought it was worth the effort. Despite the common misconception, it was Egyptians, not Jewish slaves, who built the pyramids. Nearly everything that remains of ancient Egyptian civilization is connected to death. It seems to have been the driving force behind their religion, literature, and art. For the pharaohs, the afterlife was a very real goal, whether achieved by stairs or sunbeams. It's entirely fitting that the monuments defining their civilization for future generations were almost certainly designed to house their dead. What should be the topic of our next video? If you enjoyed this story about my life, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment.